שלום, אני מצטערת, אין לי מספיק יכולת בעברית לדבר באמת בעברית. Should either. But I am definitely not an entrepreneur. And I can't speak to the challenges of that a first-year startup faces from personal experience. I consider my time here in Israel as an important part of my entrepreneurship education. So I'm very much a student of entrepreneurship, but not much more. In my recent work with the head of the U.S. State Department's Global Entrepreneurship Program, Shelley Porges, who some of you here may know, I've been introduced to some interesting data that underscore the basic truth that entrepreneurs drive economic growth and innovation. Research study after research study has confirmed that it's young firms that drive job creation. In the United States, from 1980 through 2005, firms less than 5 years old accounted for nearly all net job growth in the country. In 2007 alone, young firms accounted for nearly 2/3 of job creation. The current economic downturn underscores the imperative. The entrepreneurial mindset must be taught and promoted as widely as possible. It's about more than high tech. Spawning economic prosperity and jobs is possible through no tech, low tech, as well as high tech. We need to engage more women, more young people, including those still in grade school, minorities, all segments of society in Israel and elsewhere. I guess this is the essence of celebrating Global Entrepreneurship Week. And this gathering, as well as hundreds of others in Israel, attest to the fact that this is a national endeavor here. Creating wealth for our people and our nations is hugely important, but I often hear something more from entrepreneurs. The reward is in the satisfaction of solving a problem or demonstrating a commitment to community. I've seen that this can be true of opportunity and necessity entrepreneurs. So the message that you can do well by doing good is also an important part, I think, of celebrating Global Entrepreneurship Week. The Global Entrepreneurship Program is a U.S. State Department-led effort to spur entrepreneurship around the world. It's a multi-agency program that rests on the philosophy that economic growth, and particularly job creation, is the foundation for political stability. The GEP also encompasses a vital public-private partnership that achieves its objectives by catalyzing and coordinating non-governmental partners around 6 categories of activity that are sort of considered the essential for creating an integrated, holistic, entrepreneurial ecosystem. These 6 areas include 1, identifying promising entrepreneurs, 2, training them, 3, connecting them with each other and sustaining their efforts in enterprises, 4, guiding them to capital, 5, advocating for supportive policy and regulations, and 6, celebrating their successes. I might add one more, celebrating failure as well as success. Learning from past mistakes seems to be a hallmark of entrepreneurship, and failure is often viewed as a badge of courage in this unique ecosystem. I understand that Failure Day is a feature of Global Entrepreneurship Week at Stanford University, and perhaps in many other places. I've heard it said that one of the most important traits of entrepreneurs is resilience, not taking no for an answer, not giving up hope. A study from the Ewan Marion Kauffman Foundation indicates that even in difficult economic times, the desire to own a small business does not diminish. It's proven true in the United States over the last 30 years. Despite the obstacles and the failures, serial entrepreneurs eventually prevail. But perhaps it's possible to avoid some of those obstacles and overcome some of the initial challenges. Is it a question of proper preparation, taking calculated risks backed up by solid research? As an entrepreneur, I was clueless. So I looked for some answers, and I found some nuggets of advice from various sources. I have to leave it up to you entrepreneurs out there to judge if they're valid, useful, or complete nonsense. But here we go. This is what I found. The biggest mistake is not trying hard enough. Starting a business is the hardest work you'll ever love. I guess plenty of entrepreneurs say that. Hopefully they're the serial kind and they eventually make it big. Another point I read in several places is don't rely on one client for most of your business. I'm not sure if that's a common mistake or not. Money was a big topic of advice. Borrow money with the worst case scenario in mind instead of the desired success. Hopefully it's not so hard to pay it back that way. Starting out with too little money seems to be the main reason for small business failures, according to several studies in the U.S. Another point I read was it's good to consider various sources of financing, but best to use your own funds first. Perhaps that instills a little bit more confidence in your investors. Figure out who the target market is before you even think about spending money on marketing. For a new business, marketing means selling, and paying customers are essential. As far as pricing your products, I read that pricing your products fairly is the important thing, not cheaply. Even if you're more expensive than the competitors, you have a better chance of success if you excel at customer service and charge a little bit more for your product. Look for free publicity to promote your new product or service. Send press releases to media outlets, local newspapers. They might want to publish a feature about your startup. A TV or a radio station might want to interview the owners. It's all good and it's all free. Another point I read time and time again was intellectual property is a business asset that must be protected. Get smart about patents, copyrights, trade secrets, and trademarks. A business plan. I saw lots of stuff on this, and my question was, do you need one? Most resources I looked at said yes. When? Well, I guess it depends on the business. Maybe you don't need one immediately. Eventually, it'll be forced on you. Another piece of advice I saw time and time again, strike a balance between your startup, your home and family, and your work. I guess if your startup is a hobby. The time management aspect is key to saving your business and your sanity. Don't believe that you can do it alone. I saw lots of varying comments on this one. Many sources said you probably need at least a lawyer and an accountant to get started with a business. But more importantly, you need colleagues to brainstorm with, to talk you out of bad ideas, and to cheer you up when things go wrong. Studies have shown that investors and banks seem to prefer financing new businesses started by more than one entrepreneur. I guess this alone could justify teaming up with someone. And a related point. It seems to me that the entrepreneurial world is built on people helping people. So don't be shy about asking lots of people for lots of information or connections. Get a mentor. And that person doesn't have to be nearby. The State Department's eMentor Core is an independent web-based platform matching mentors and entrepreneurs from anywhere in the world. I can give you that website if you need it. That pretty much exhausts my findings of one-size-fits-all advice for first-year startups. I think it's much more important that you hear from people whose experience really matters. Thank you for the opportunity to join you today.
Thank you. Thanks, Julie. It's not only do banks prefer to give loans to groups containing more than one entrepreneur, but evidence shows, research shows, at least in high technology, that larger groups do better than smaller groups. So I guess that they just know.